Okay, what you're going to need to make these yarnies is any color yarn that you want, all cut to the same length. Usually I cut it to about 10 inches or so, 8-10 inches, about 4 pieces of yarn. Then you'll need a piece of monofilament line with a loop tied in one end, about a foot. And then you'll need a piece of straw. Usually the stiffer straws work a little bit better. They hold up and don't flex as much, making it easier. A pair of sharp scissors. And then some magic thread. I've got pink and orange because of the colors of yarnies that I make, and they just work out better that way. So, first thing you're going to do is take your line with the loop in one end and feed the other end back through and pull it somewhat tight so you have a big enough loop to fit your yarn through on the other end, as so. Then grab your yarn just about even on the one end, stick it through your loop and pull it tight. As so. And then what you're going to do is pick up your straw, put your line through the end of the straw, and then pull your yarn into the end of your straw. As so. And then take your monofilament loop off your yarn, and then pull your yarn back through the straw until you got about roughly half an inch to an inch sticking out. Then you take your magic thread, lay it over the top, and then right just outside the end of the straw you're going to wrap it around about 7 to 10 times, and then break it off, and then pull out your yarn a little bit more out the end of the straw, not too much because then you'll end up with a bigger yarnie, and it's better with about a dime size yarnie. So then trim it off as such, and then you're going to have this. So some people take the time and they actually trim it up all nice and neat, but I found it's not really needed. So what I do is I just pinch it between my forefinger and my thumb and then trim just around my fingers here. As such, and then keep going around. As such. And then fluff it up a little bit. And that's kind of what you end up with here. A yarn ball. And then what you do is you come back and you pull some more yarn out the end of your straw here, just a little bit. And then grab your magic thread again, lay it over the top, and then wrap it. Seven to 10 times, break it off, pull it out a little bit more, grab your scissors, cut it off at the end of the straw, Pick it up and trim. Again, as such. And fluff it up. As such, and there you go. So then what I'll do a lot of times is I've got my box here. I'll stock up on the colors that I like to use a little bit, but then I'll also take my straw and yarn and I'll lay it in my box as so, along with my silly thread. And I've usually got my scissors with me on the bank in my bag, so I'll be able to make them on the side of the river as I want them. And that usually works out for me pretty well. So, now I've showed you that, I'll show you how I fish them. So, I usually start off my leader, my hook, and I tie an egg loop knot. And the way that you do that is you put your line through the eye just past the end of the hook here, pinch it up against the shaft, then you come behind the eye and you wrap it 7 to 10 times. Being careful not to overlap your wraps here, and then holding it tight so it doesn't unravel. And then you bring your line back through the eye just a little bit, just enough to hold on to, and then hold that line against the shank of the hook, and then hold this one tight, come back, pinch your line up against the shaft here, and then you wrap 7 to 10 more times. And then pinch it there, so you have this loop down here, and then slowly pull out the eye of your hook. Being careful not to let it unravel on you, and then pull it tight, and then come back and pull your tag in here, then take your scissors, trim it off, and then what you're left with is a loop in the end that you can push the line back out the eye of the hook and make a little loop. And then what you do is you try and get your Yarnies centered as much as possible. It just fishes better that way. And you put it in the loop as such, and then pull the tag in and tighten it down as such. And then what you're left with is a presentation that goes through the water column roughly like so, which is very, very effective.